Live from the 607 is the ODPH Entertainment Edition, where we're talking movies, comics, TV, and more. Why don't you join in the conversation? Hashtag ODPH, because here we go. And welcome to a special edition of the ODPH Entertainment Edition. I'm your host, Ken M. Sitting across from me this week is the intern himself, Padawan J.
Oh, baby.
And folks, we mentioned on last week's show we had a special show just for you. We've received many inquiries about doing a show about pro wrestling. What bigger event to do it than Wrestlemania?
Oh, it's coming soon.
And folks, we could not just do a normal show. No. We had to go get a couple guests to crash the panel this week. First and foremost, from the band Floodlands, give it up for Jimmy Gazdick.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this week, Jim.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely. And joining the panel again, he is an old friend of the show. It's the one and only Nostradamus, Mr. Edwin Fortunato.
What's up?
What's up is Wrestlemania, my friend. Hashtag ODPHEE if you're in the social media. So going into this weekend, it is the granddaddy of them all, the biggest event in all of pro wrestling. It's Wrestlemania. So I'm going to ask the panel, what is Wrestlemania, or what does Wrestlemania mean to you? Starting with Pat.
It's the culmination of like the entire year. You've got all your storylines, you've got all your feuds building up to this mega event that is just beyond belief at times. That you just can't believe something this size with this many people is going on. It's incredible, and it's just always fun to watch.
I think it is the biggest. It's like all the other sports, like major events, like wrapped into one, the Super Bowl and all that. It's a worldwide spectacle. It used to be not very much, but then it's grown so much that it's just worldwide.
It's my favorite event of the year out of the wrestling world, and I know it sounds typical, but my favorite matches of all time were probably at most of the WrestleManias, like Steamboat and Savage, Warrior and Savage. Savage had some of the best WrestleMania matches.
Savage was so classic.
Oh yeah, but it's not only nostalgic for me, but it's still in me today to tune in almost every Monday night. I've been bad about it lately because of my schedule, but every chance I get, I try to tune in just so I could see where it's going to lead up to when WrestleMania comes around that time of the year.
WrestleMania is just that iconic, and I mean, that's just the marquee memories that you have as a wrestling fan. I mean, that's why you have so much conversation amongst different shows, different medias. WrestleMania just has that impact on everybody, that this is the culmination of months of storyline building. This is your dream matchups in certain cases, stuff that you didn't think you were ever going to see, you're going to see at WrestleMania. So, as we were going into this show, we're going to be taking some calls from fans that wanted to sound off about wrestling, so we're going to give them the forum to do it. But we're going to take a quick break because we have a special guest joining us next segment. Who is it? Keep listening and find out. You're listening to the ODPH Entertainment Edition.
It's a heartbreak, soul-shaped radio attack. Taking 4 steps forward, no steps back.
Hey, this is Vince the Common Man Ciatoy, local MMA fighter, telling you to keep on listening to the ODPH, the 607's up-and-coming newest podcast.
We knew right where we'd be, floating on the airwaves, you see. It's a heartbreak, soul-shaped radio attack. Taking 4 steps forward and no steps back. We knew right where we'd be.
And welcome for another segment on the special edition of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour Entertainment Edition, the Wrestling Extravaganza. And folks, when we are talking professional wrestling, we have a very good friend of the show, very well traveled through the business.
Joey Ryan.
I wish.
So do I.
But we have another friend. He is known throughout parts of Vestal as the Vestal Vigilante. His background ranges anywhere from Combat Zone Wrestling, 2CW, Excite Wrestling, Wrestle Circus. I could give the pedigree, but you know what? I don't do it enough justice. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for George Gatton.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, guys. First of all, thanks for making me sound important.
George, you are important.
You are. Let's not get it misconstrued. You are very important.
Thank you. You can't see my ego.
No, but we can definitely hear it, and we want to hear it. Hashtag ODPHEE if you were joining us on the social media. So, George, why don't you give our listeners a more extensive background than the one I broke down for them?
Cool. Well, I wrestled from 2014, the end of 2014 to 2017. Trained at CZW Wrestling Academy under primarily Drew Gulak, DJ Hyde, and Preacher Phineas James, and, a slew of others.
That is quite a pedigree, especially now Drew Gulak we're seeing on 205 Live each week on the WWE Network.
With his fantastic PowerPoint presentations, might I add.
Fantastic.
Hashtag for a better 205 Live.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm just a kid from Vestal who got to live his dream. What more can I say?
No, absolutely. I mean, especially how well-traveled you are through the business. I mean, just think of from starting here in the 607, going to CZW, going through the dojos down there, and then working your way around the circuit and going everywhere from 2CW to Excite to where you last were wrestling down in Wrestle Circus. Shout out to them down in Austin.
Shout out. Love them.
Absolutely.
Trash, man.
Yeah, who could forget that one?
This is very true. But now, talking WrestleMania, for our listeners, George, why is this so important?
WrestleMania is professional wrestling Super Bowl, man. Bottom line, your heavy hitters are out there, ideally having, the best matches of their career. Most people in pro wrestling, that's their goal. Wrestle at WrestleMania. It's like, are you going to go to the NFL and not want to win? Just, hang out and play a couple games? No, you want to go to the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, absolutely.
In the MLB, you want to win the World Series, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
Now, if you're in the WWE, you want to perform at WrestleMania.
Yeah, you want to be at the biggest stage of them all, have that moment.
Literally and figuratively.
Now, George...
If you've never been, it's bigger than you can imagine.
I was going to say, now, speaking of how big it is, how many WrestleManias have you attended?
I've attended 9. This year is going to be number 10.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So describe to our listeners, what is the experience like?
It's wild, man. I mean, you generally have this idea in your head as to what you're going to do all week because it's not just WWE. You've got various independents. You got WrestleCon. You got live shows like Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, like JR's one-man show. There's so much to do. And, a lot of the thing is a lot of companies work with each other, so they try not to run head-to-head if at all possible, which gives you even more options. So, I mean, I know this is number 10 for me, and the last 9 times I've had some sort of plan as to, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to attack it. And, none of those 9 times did everything go as I planned it. And really, that's not a negative thing. That's for the better. Because you have so many ideas in your mind that you're going to forget some. And, it's one of those situations where you just kind of want to throw caution to the wind and do whatever the hell you feel like, man. It's so much fun. You have to try not to have fun in a situation like that.
Fair point. Now, how soon would you say you usually get down for a WrestleMania? Like how many days in advance?
On average for me, I get there usually like Wednesday or Thursday, so 3-4 days out. Like I said, there's a lot of indies running. There's a lot of shows going on in general. And, part of the fun for me is traveling. And I'm also a big food guy, so I want to try whatever top-level restaurants or hyped restaurants I can.
Absolutely. I mean, traveling to that many cities, you get to experience so many different cultures and especially, like you said, so many different foods that it just truly makes for a great experience.
Absolutely, man.
Now, does one WrestleMania stick out more than the other 9 you've gone to so far?
The actual event or like the weekend?
Either or.
All right, man. I've gotten to be there for some cool moments. Let me tell you. It was cool that I was a wrestler, whatever. I mean, I'm never going to downplay that. I lived my dream. But more than anything, I am and I always have been a fan. I've been to Manias 23, 25, and then 27 through 33.
That's an impressive pedigree, man.
I was there for what I would consider the greatest match of all time. It's absolutely my favorite match of all time. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
No, that was the first one, correct?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay.
Not the retire. match. Man, I've watched probably literally thousands of matches, probably thousands of shows at this point. Damn, that match is perfect. Again, pro wrestling's subjective. I get that. But to me, that match was perfect. You had athleticism, storytelling, just moments.
I fully agree. I mean, that was arguably like one of the most iconic moments in pro wrestling history, especially for how just perfect, spot on it was.
Yeah, I can't even explain the crowd for that one. I mean, you could watch it back, and it does it some justice, but not fully, in a moment like that, you're making best friends with strangers next to you. You're marking out. You're not really caring. You're not going into this with any sort of shame or embarrassment, because you're surrounded by a lot of other fans too, literally thousands of them. You're all there to have a good time. And that crowd just lost it for both of them, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker are pretty much anchors of the company, for forever, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Shawn Michaels has always been a WWE guy. The Undertaker, even when he came over from WCW and became The Undertaker, I mean, those have been your two cornerstones for decades.
Yeah, man. And, in my opinion, Shawn Michaels remains the greatest in-ring competitor of all time. Again, just my opinion, but I think I share it with quite a few people.
It's got to be it's a highly debated question about who is the greatest of all time, but Michaels has to be up there in the discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, on the other side of things, I was there when the Undertaker streak ended.
How surreal was that?
It was weird, right? I guess that's the best way I could put it. It was weird. So we see Brock hit him with 2 F5s, and Taker kicks out of both. And we see Brock catch him for the third. And I look at my buddy Cody, who I was with, at the show, and I say, "Yo, watch out!" I think I said, I bet the lights go out and Sting appears. Because that was a heavy rumor back around Mania 30.
Oh, yeah, that's been for a long time.
I hear 1, 2, 3, and I look at Cody, and I said, "Oh, man, they botched the finish." Mind you, they had rung the bell, and I did not hear the bell ring. And that's like God's honest truth. I didn't hear the bell ring because I just didn't expect it to, And the crowd went completely silent. I mean, you're talking, this is a Mercedes-Benz Superdome, just like it's going to be this year. And it was packed, like it was sold out. It was a sold out show. So you're talking at least 75,000 people.
Wow.
And I swear, man, you could hear a pin drop. And we're just all silent and looking at each other like, what the hell? And then the graphic comes up, 21-1. And man, some of us just started screaming. Like, you were angry, Take or lose. He lost to Brock Lesnar, who was looked at as like a part-timer at the time. Like, why did Brock have to beat him? We look at each other, look at the guys behind us, and we just start screaming, "What? Oh my God, this really happened." That's not me cleaning it up either. We were too angry to swear.
Yeah.
And,
right.
In retrospect, in my opinion, it made perfect sense because Brock was always a guy that had Taker's number. But at the time, good Lord, man, we were angry. We were pissed.
Well, I remember that night very vividly because that was my first ever pay-per-view, which I know there's some people who like to blame me for that loss. But I remember that night very vividly because I remember just social media lighting up with all these rumors about what happened. And, I thought I heard this get said at this point in the match. And that's when they decided. Even to this day, there's so many stories and rumors and hearsay about, who made the decision, who made the call, who made the this and that. It's just so crazy.
Yeah, just sitting there, just like, I remember watching it. I mean, Pad was over at Vinny's, and we were all just watching, just had a room of about, 15 of us, I think.
Something like that.
And just, like, we had a pin drop, and we're like, wait, did that just really happen? Because, I mean, the Undertaker streak, for those that haven't been following, I mean, it's iconic. That the man just never lost at WrestleMania, no matter who he faced.
21 wins in a row,
it's unheard of.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's never going to be replicated again for
no.
sure.
No way.
No, I mean it was iconic. On the same event, I got to see Daniel Bryan beat all of Evolution, other than Ric Flair, but of course he was retired. Beat Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista all on the same night. Walked out World Heavyweight Champion.
Not a lot of people can say that.
No,
man. It was, to me, it was the closest thing to a new age Stone Cold Steve Austin. And what I mean by that is, I know their characters aren't similar. Daniel Bryan's not a beer drinking redneck who beats up his boss, you know. He's more of just a wrestler that says yes. And what I mean by that is the crowd got behind him, and they got behind him organically. He was Daniel Bryan. That's it. He was a great wrestler. He went out there and gave it his all every single night, and the crowd loved him. It resonated with them. That was their guy, man. Nothing was going to stop that. I mean, you know, you hear all this, you know, these rumors and speculations that he was supposed to wrestle someone else on the undercard and that he wasn't supposed to be in the main event. But listen, man, if that's true, the people made it happen. I know Daniel knows that. He's talked about it for years, and it's wild, man. And to see that come full circle this year, you know, you and I and Josh, of course, we know that he had initially retired 2 years ago due to, you know, concussion scares. But, you know, he's been medically cleared, and I have no doubt he's going to give it the performance of his lifetime, you know, back in that same building.
Yeah, and how poetic is that? I was thinking about this the other day.
It's so poetic, man. And, like, you know, say what you want, but he's in there with two guys who had very similar upbringings to him in professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And Owens and Sami Zayn. You know, Owens we definitely saw at the American Legion. In fact, I'm pretty sure you guys were there when he wrestled AJ Styles.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most surreal things, seeing that at the Legion and just showing the great thing that is independent pro wrestling. And then watching a couple years later, they're fighting on a pay-per-view and going, I've seen this before.
I've seen this before in a room with 300 people.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. It just goes to show you the tenacity and the hard work that those guys are putting in.
Oh, without question.
Nobody really knows Sami Zayn's independent story. It's speculated that he was a big El Generico fan.
I've heard this.
If you watch Sami Zayn's current wrestling and you watch El Generico's old wrestling, there's a lot of similarities. I guess you could say he was a super fan. You know, he was an El Generico guy. Look at him now, man. He's doing him proud. Generico's running that orphanage. I know he just recently resurfaced on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I had to take like a triple take because, I mean, he's been gone for so long.
I'm guessing the Wi-Fi down there is it's pretty mean.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing Sammy doesn't do is a brain buster.
Yeah, I'd say give it time, man.
Yeah, I would say that would be the only thing that I don't think he copies out of Generico's bag.
I thought we were going to see it one time. I know they wrestled. It was a pay-per-view before, I want to say, SummerSlam 2016, and I really thought we were going to see it.
Yeah, that would have been truly epic if we did.
We didn't, but we're going. I have a feeling we're going to sooner or later.
I mean, that's just it's going to be another iconic moment at WrestleMania 2, seeing Daniel Bryan get back in the ring. And just, I mean, everything coming out from this WrestleMania. Is there anything that's really jumping at you about this WrestleMania?
I think this card is one of the best cards of all time. And I've said that, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I probably said that 3 or 4 times over the last 5 years, exception being Mania 32. But, you know, what are you going to do? A lot of your top guys are injured, and even so, that was a pretty good card, in my opinion.
It was solid for what it was. I mean, obviously, with how many injuries.
Exactly, man. There's a lot of injuries. John Cena and Seth Rollins are 2 of your top guys. They weren't there. You know, you just can't foresee stuff like that happening. I think this card's awesome, top to bottom. I'd have to think about what I'm most excited to see. I'm just kidding. I'm really excited to see Styles versus Nakamura.
Yeah, to see that stateside. I mean, we've seen it in New Japan before, but still, I mean, to see the basically the rematch now I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah, and I think both those guys are 2 of the best in the company, in the world, of course. To see them thrive on this stage where so many people questioned whether or not they could hang, to me that's poetic. Of course, you know, even though he's getting older and, you know, he's on borrowed time, I think that if The Undertaker and John Cena officially goes down, that's going to be a tremendous match as well.
Do you think, I'm sorry to interrupt you on this, do you think the Taker is coming back as the American Badass, or is he coming back as the Undertaker?
Man, Ken, I think I'm probably the biggest Biker Taker fan that you know.
This is true. This is why I had to ask you.
I'm hopeful he's coming back as the American Badass. I'll be honest with you, I'm not much of a Kid Rock guy for one reason or another. It's just not my cup of tea.
It's all right.
But if Kid Rock played American Badass and The Undertaker rode his motorcycle out to the ring, it's a hell of a Mania entrance.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if not for me, then for your casual fan, for, you know, the Attitude Era guys. And I really hope it goes down.
I think it should. I mean, he when he took the hat and the gloves off and left him in the ring after last year's against Roman Reigns, it only makes sense. If he doesn't do
Yeah.
that, it's going to be like, okay, what was that whole point to do it then?
Well, and if you listen to John Cena, right?
Mhm.
If he's calling him out, is he calling out the dead man, or is he calling out Michelle McCool's husband and all this other stuff he's been saying?
Yeah, when he started talking about the Instagram posts, yeah.
He's calling the guy out. So I think that ties in as well. And really, Big Evil and Biker Taker, that might be my favorite Undertaker.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember when he fought Triple H at Mania, and I think that was one of his best matches that maybe flew under the radar of some.
It did fall under the radar. You're on a card with Rock versus Austin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, the Gimmick Battle Royal, TLC 2.
Yeah, there was so much on that card that I don't think people really knew it.
Card. And, that match is incredible. I actually just watched it, I think, last week or the week before. It holds up and then some, man. Watch it compared to their 27 and 28 matches, and it's still amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another thing that's iconic about WrestleMania, that you see so many great matches that sometimes are once in a lifetime, sometimes they're not. You see a couple of
Sometimes
rematches.
there's twice in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm not hating, though.
I'm not hating either. It was just kind of like when they said once in a lifetime, it's like, okay, stick to it. And then they're like, okay, we're going to do it again next year. It's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, still a good match, though. No question of that.
Got to see it live the second time.
This is true. But but I'll tell you what, being a big CM Punk guy as I am, I was so like, after I saw him versus Taker, I was like, I don't even care about the match.
Yeah, that was a great match, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought that should have main evented, but
I think that was Undertaker's last great match.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it was just tremendous.
So now going into Mania week, is there any do's and don'ts you recommend for our listening audience that will be traveling?
It's hard for me to say, dude, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
Honestly, there's really no wrong way to do Mania weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mix and match and DIY. There's so many events going on, and the venues that the events are in are generally big enough that they're not likely to sell out. Because, not everyone is going to Mania weekend for the indies. Those that are, they're excited. People are traveling from all over the world, and they're going to do it. In my experience, the venues are generally big enough that they're not going to sell out. So it's mix and match. My real advice is to try and stay closer to the venues. I know the first time I went to New Orleans, for instance, I stayed by the airport.
Ooh.
Which is probably a good 25, 30 minutes from everything.
Yeah, it's a distance.
Yeah, that's having been to New Orleans when I was back in high school. That's a fair distance.
Yeah, it was a fair distance. Actually, our first Mania, I went with two of my friends, and we stayed in a suburb of Detroit. And even staying in that suburb, you're gonna drive. You're driving to Ford Field. It's another half hour. Just try and map everything out before you book a hotel. Maybe it's too late this year. Keep this in mind for next year. But really, there's no wrong or right way to do it. Just don't act like a dick. Everyone's there to have a good time. You're there to have a good time. Fucking have a good time.
There you go. Any shows that you recommend being the independent shows?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm glad you asked. One of the people that helped me the most when I was wrestling was Joey Janela.
The bad boy.
Bad boy. You know the bad boy.
Absolutely. Big fan of
I don't
his.
think it's anyone on the indies more DIY or straight up punk rock than Joey Janela right now. People talk about how they do things their way, and then they'll cave, and they'll do things someone else's way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing whatever the fuck he wants, whenever the fuck he wants. Last year, he had Joey Janela's Spring Break, and it was a weird fucking card, right?
Yeah.
He had an event, I think it was Janela versus Marty Jannetty. He had Dan the Beast Severn versus Matt Riddle, right?
Yeah, I remember that match.
You had the clusterfuck.
Mm-hmm.
You had Andy Williams from Every Time I Die and Penelope Ford against Braxton Sutter and Alley. Like, you had a fucking wild card, and every match was entertaining. And man, if you look at the card for Janela's Spring Break this year, holy shit, he turns it up, man.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I'll run through it for your listeners if you'd like me to.
Please do.
Well, returning would be the Clusterfuck. They're not announcing anybody for the Clusterfuck. If you saw last year's Clusterfuck, you know it was all over the place.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I know Glacier was in last year. The Invisible Man, Jervis Cottonbelly, Dink the Clown, and Veda Scott, plus a lot more that I'm going to forget, so I don't want to try and name everybody.
It was one of the more cooler, eclectic mixes in a battle royal.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a battle royal, but kind of just A clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of the easiest way to try describing it to listeners. It was like, it was a battle royal, but it wasn't. It was just like, it was exactly as you said it was.
It was just an amalgamation of people.
Yeah.
It was a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year's card's awesome. Clusterfuck's coming back. If you're a purist, a wrestling purist, you have David Starr taking on Lightning Mike Quackenbush,
Man,
the master of 1,000 holds.
that's going to be an awesome match.
You know, Quackenbush is a literal master of 1,000 holds. You know, he's had quite a hand in training some of your favorite wrestlers. I know he and Cesaro worked quite a bit together. I know he had a hand in training 205 Live's Drew Gulak as well.
That's quite a pedigree right there.
Yeah, if you're into, you know, more of a hardcore thing or straight up brawling, Nick fucking Gage will be taking on Penta El Cerro Miedo.
Oh boy.
Yo.
Yeah.
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 That's all you can say is, yeah.
How about a hoss fight, Ken? You guys like hoss fights?
Yeah.
Of course.
That's just for a hoss fight. Walter from Germany
The man. Yeah.
taking on Pierre Carl Ouellet, also known as Quebecer Pierre.
Holy yeah, I didn't hear about this one.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
Holy smokes.
And you got your main event of Joey Janela versus the Great Sasuke. You know, I know we spoke about this off air, and I wouldn't tell you what the match was, but how's this for a match, Ken?
Okay.
And Josh, too, but I think Ken's mind's going to get blown by this one.
Yeah.
You got James Ellsworth versus Matt Riddle.
What? Get out of here. That's not
It's a
going.
real match that's going to happen.
No.
Yeah, and those are the only matches. Those are just matches that are announced.
Okay.
Keep in mind, there's going to be some other matches.
Well, that's a great thing about the indie shows is it's you really have an idea, but you really don't know what to expect because the indies. I mean, there's so many wrestlers that are going to be down there. You never know who's going to be crossing
Yeah.
shows.
It's a completely different vibe than, say, going to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
There's not one that's better than the other. They're just different. You know, it's apples and oranges.
but no matter where you go,
Baskin Robbins, you know, man, there's a flavor for everybody.
that's what I was going to say. Is like no matter where you go, you're going to find some kind of wrestling you're going to be into. Whether it's Ring of Honor is doing a show down there, I believe. Joey Janela is doing a show down there. I heard about Lucha Underground versus Impact.
Yep, that's going down. WrestleCon is holding their annual Super Show.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to do down there.
CCW's running. I know Wildcat, who run in Louisiana anyway, are going to run a show. There's a ton going on. Progress is coming in from England. There's so many, man. I don't have time to name them all. There's just so many. They're generally all going to be amazing shows, too.
Yeah, so it's like, you can just get the full experience of pro wrestling and what it's all about. I mean, WrestleMania is the big one of it, but you know what? It's definitely worth checking out the indie scene as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're not into going to any live shows that aren't produced by the WWE, shit, feel free to go to WrestleCon, The good thing about WrestleCon is that your favorite wrestlers from when you were a kid are probably going to be at WrestleCon.
Yeah. It's a good nostalgia trip.
I'm going to meet some that I always wanted to meet and never got the chance to from when I was a kid,
Oh, yeah.
Like mid-90s WWF, that was my cup of tea growing up. So you bet your ass I'm going to try and meet Psycho Sid.
There you go.
Can't go wrong with that.
I'm probably going to ask him for his favorite number and hope he yells 22 in my face.
I really hope he does.
You got to get that on tape if it does, George. We want to see that.
I'm excited to meet, whoever. You never know. I mean, like I said, you can plan it out in your head. Then you get there and you're like, well, shit, I want to meet this person, this person, this person. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It's WrestleMania weekend. Do it up how you see fit. Not everyone's going to have the same flavor, and that's cool. Just show up and have a fucking good time.
Can't put it better than that, my friend.
Yes, sir. I know you've had one Mania under your belt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, went down to the one in New York, and that was a blast. I mean, it's an experience to be had from top to bottom. I mean, to try putting it into words, I mean, you've now gone, this will be number 10 for you. I've gone to one, possibly next year. Got to kind of see what's going on. I mean, just trying to describe it is just, as you can hear when we're talking, you can just hear how just the excitement and the passion about it is just like, this is the big deal, and this is just one of those moments that you're going to be talking about for years. I mean, how many matches we were talking about that, like with Michaels and the Taker, and how many years ago was that? And we're still talking about that.
9 years, sir. We're getting old.
Yeah, getting vintage, as Michael Cole would say.
Vintage. I'm aging like fine wine while others are aging like milk, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Well put, George.
Even just discussing that match, like I could probably name a classic from every Mania I've been to if we sit here and do that. Like you're gonna go, like even if the rest of the card sucks, there's going to be one match that's likely to always be remembered. So remember that.
Very good point, George.
Yes, sir.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. I hope you have an amazing time down in New Orleans. Definitely hit us up. Let us know how it went down.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Hopefully, I'll get to come back, man. I'd like to come back and discuss whatever the fuck else you feel like discussing, man.
Anytime, George, you want to come on the ODPH, you know you got an open door, so we'll make that happen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, that was George Gatton. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Mike Pappy from Rye Bread, and you're listening to the ODPH.
Coming back on the ODPH Entertainment Edition, Wrestlemania Edition, and that was George Gatton. Live from New Orleans, as he's down there for WrestleMania this week. We have another caller on the line. Caller, why don't you introduce yourself to our listening audience?
Hey guys, my name is Vinny. I'm longtime friends with Kenny and the gang and part of their wrestling clique.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Few other bigger fans we know than Vinny. So obviously we're doing a wrestling show. We had to chime in. Vin, what does WrestleMania mean to you?
WrestleMania is my Super Bowl. I'm more of a wrestling fan than I am a football fan, so I look forward to this every year.
Do you have any WrestleMania? Oh, I'm sorry, Vin. Keep going.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what Mania moments stand out to you? We're just going to compare with our panel here.
Oh, my God. The first one that really stands out to me, Warrior Hogan up in Toronto.
Oh, man, that was an excellent match.
That's one of my favorite, when Warrior took the belt from Hogan and started running wild with it.
I would say that had to be one of the more iconic moments because it was the first time, at least to my memory, and panel, please jump in and help me, was that the first time we had champion versus champion?
I believe so. I can't think of any other time.
Yeah, and just for that time period, because Hogan, and Vinny, you can jump in on this too as well, please. Hogan was the man at that time that just dominated wrestling for at least an easy 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, Hogan was the man that was on top of the company. He was untouchable. It was his show, and everyone else was just secondary.
Yeah.
So for them to put him up against Warrior and to put Warrior over, that was a moment that I can't really. They didn't top for quite some time.
No, I honestly think it was the closest, I think, to that moment, at least for me, was when Lesnar beat Taker for the streak.
Oh.
That, because I just didn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, wait, what do you mean Hogan lost? Like, Hogan never loses.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when, Lesnar taking out Taker, no one thought that streak would ever end, and no one thought Hogan, especially in that time period, was going to lose. You had a face versus a face, but no one thought the immortal Hogan was going to lose.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it was just one of those things that you just knew he was never. It just didn't seem real. That's like the easiest thing. Like you just knew in your heart that like Hogan doesn't lose at Mania. It was almost like the original streak, so to speak.
That's right, and he wasn't going to lose the belt. That's what I always thought.
Well, yeah, that's the crazy thing. I mean, with Hogan and especially during that period, it's you think of wrestling during that time period. Sure, some other people might think of some other people, but by and large, Hogan is the first name you think of. And he's so synonymous with that time period that you're watching it, and he's the guy. He's on top of the world, on top of the mountain, as it were. There's no way he's going to lose. He's the guy.
No, absolutely.
Exactly.
So, Vin, what's your thoughts on this year's card?
This year's card, it seems to me in recent memory, is one of the more predictable cards if you look at it.
Okay.
So I'm hoping there's a lot of swerves and a lot of things that we don't expect, because some of the matches seem way too predictable.
Yeah, I kind of with you on that. At least for 2 matches, the Daniel Bryan match just seems a little too predictable, I guess, unless Owens and Zayn are going to Raw. That's the only thing I could sense with that. And then the Ronda Rousey match, I think Ronda's going to put on a display.
Yeah, and I think
so.
the other one you can look at, Asuka. I mean, that streak's going to continue.
Oh yeah, there's no way they're having her lose.
All right, here's a question I got for you, Vin, in panel 2. Do you think Carmella cashes in and wins?
No.
I think she cashes in, but is unsuccessful. I think she tries to. I think she tries to cash in. I think even. I think Asuka wins, and then she tries to cash in, and Charlotte causes her to lose her chance.
I think
Charlotte will interfere, and Asuka will pin. Will pin Carmella.
Fair enough. Hold on, Dog, you got something to jump in on?
I think she'll cash in, but she'll eventually lose because I don't think they'll have either Charlotte or Asuka lose, especially Asuka, to her if if she were to cash in.
And here's the other thing, though. The Money in the Bank contract doesn't specifically state she has to cash in on a SmackDown champion. She can cash in on a Raw champion. So she very well could take advantage of Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, cash in. Now, I'm not saying she's going to win, but she could jump up. Because you think about it, I think we're all under the belief that Asuka's going to win the SmackDown Women's Championship, which would thereby mean she's going over to SmackDown because, well, you can't have the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. So you would have a spot open up. I can see her cashing in on Alexa during that match and moving over to Raw.
I'm with Vinny on this one.
Yeah, no, I agree too. I think this is Asuka's to lose. I mean, she's currently running through everybody, and in my gut feeling, I think she wins. I think if Carmella does cash in there, I think she's going to lose to Asuka. She'd be smarter to cash in on Raw and do a jump switch over there, because I think next year's main event is going to be Rousey versus Asuka.
That's a safe bet.
I just sense that's going to happen. Streak versus the Unstoppable Force.
The icon, I guess you could kind of say, because she, in terms of women's combat sports, she's kind of top of the world.
Yeah, I mean it's a good debate.
I'd say so.
It's a good debate. Dog, you got a sense on that?
I think so too. She's just, I mean, they made divisions for her in the UFC, and she's just, hopefully will continue that over, and I think they'll build her up to be as dominant as she was in the UFC.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she just needs more experience in the actual ring, because learning the psychology of pro wrestling, I think, is going to be something that'll help her down the road. Because right now she just looks very new, and you can sense it there.
Oh yeah,
Still green.
Yeah, very, very.
Does she have a wrestling background at all?
No, just
Okay.
just judo, and
I don't know much about her besides.
yeah, no, that's the one thing that she does have a very athletic pedigree. I mean, obviously winning in the Olympics, and being a dominant champion at the UFC level. So just translating that over to pro wrestling, that's going to be the biggest challenge for her. I think by next year, though, she's going to be like what Angle was when Angle started.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the thing of it is when this deal got announced that she was coming to WWE, she's not doing a part-time job. She's full-time. She's going to work she's going to work the house shows. She's going to work Raw. She's going to work the pay-per-views. It's not like she's going to work Mania and then disappear for 4 months.
Yeah.
Like Snooki.
Yeah, well, no, Snooki was a one-time thing, but I will say this for Snooki's credit. Snooki had a good match at Mania.
She did.
You can't fault her on
I didn't
that.
know she was that athletic.
I don't think
honestly.
anybody did, really. But you know what? Hey, she did her thing, so props to her.
Absolutely.
So, Vin, before we let you go, any final thoughts on Mania?
I don't, I'm just hoping that it pays off. The match I'm waiting for is Nakamura Styles. I hope they explode and knock the roof right off.
I agree with you, Vin. Because ever since, I'm kind of a little spoiled. I saw them wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that match, if you can find it, incredible. So if they can come anywhere close to that, if not top it, this is going to be the match that you tell any random mainstream fan, this is the one you watch. If you want to see why we watch every week, hands down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I can't. Go. I'm sorry, Ben.
Thought is, does Taker show up?
I think Taker shows up as the American Badass. I think
really?
I think he does not show up as Taker.
That'd be interesting.
Well, the reason a lot of people are, including myself and the host here, are thinking it's going to be Biker Taker is for one, you've got Kid Rock getting inducted to the Hall of Fame that same weekend, but also there's the common theory or thought as well. He took off his Undertaker gear and laid it in the ring almost as if I'm
that's right,
moving past this in my life. That was a phase in my life or what have you. I can see there being a segment of like maybe middle of the card or it's starting to get dark or dusk or what have you, and they show Cena sitting in the front row or something. He's sitting next to a fan, sitting next to a fan, chatting it up, having fun, and they're talking or whatever, and all of a sudden you just hear the music hit, and they just go from there.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. America will come back too.
I don't know. That's the thing about Mania. You never know who's going to show up. You never know who's going to come through.
That's how it was when Sting showed up. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, Vin, we're going to let you go, but thank you for calling into the ODPH.
No problem, guys. Nice talking with you.
Good talking with you,
Absolutely,
Vin.
bro. We'll be talking to you soon, all right?
All right.
That is Vinny, everybody. So we're going to take a quick break, have another caller chime in. You are listening to the ODPH Entertainment WrestleMania Edition.
Hi, this is Mike C. from I Am Horror. You're listening to the ODPH, the most killer podcast on the planet.
Coming back for another segment on this week's ODPH Entertainment Edition, WrestleMania style. And we have another caller. Caller, why don't you announce who you are?
I am Jason Feather, an old college friend of yours.
Absolutely. Big Fez, what is going on, my friend?
Well, living the dream down here at the beach in Delaware, my friend.
The beach weather will definitely take.
Yeah, brag about it.
It is a sunny 68 right now.
Well, it beats the windstorm we are having currently here in the 607. There's stuff flying all over the place. They're saying 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's kind of been a little crazy today.
Yeah, I was able to have the top down on my Jeep earlier, so that was nice.
Man, I tell you. So, Fez, what does WrestleMania mean to you?
WrestleMania to me, I kind of would like to think that as twofold. One, it's a lot of childhood memories for me. Seeing Hogan slam Andre the Giant, back when they were at the Sky Dome in Toronto and they rode in on those carts.
Oh, my God, yeah. I forgot about that.
Now you have the really long ramps from the backstage to the ring where your guys are riding in on tanks and motorcycles and stuff. So, but now WrestleMania is a chance for me to connect with my kids and enjoy WrestleMania moments with them. My daughter is 10, and she has the app on her phone and is constantly watching things that, the very first Hardy Boys stuff and matches with Ric Flair, and she plays travel basketball, and when she makes a shot, she goes, woo!
Yeah, nice.
It's stuff like that where I can build memories with her and live kind of, through her eyes, how I used to view things and see it through her eyes now.
That's awesome. What do you think is your favorite Mania moment? You covered a lot there, but is there one that just sticks out as like, this is Mania, if I got to explain it to somebody?
There's quite a few. Recently, the Hardys coming back is a great WrestleMania moment. Yeah, Undertaker losing was a shocking WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, I don't think there's been anything bigger than that for like a shock value.
No, I mean, you thought that was going to be the one thing that never happened. But I guess the one thing was when Hogan wrestled the Ultimate Warrior back in WrestleMania 6. Quite honestly, the two Titans that they were, neither of them were great mat technicians. I mean, yeah.
No, not in comparison to like an Angle or a Bret Hart or.
Correct. But just the enormity of their characters and the idea that those two were putting belts on the line because I believe Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion at that time and Hogan was the heavyweight champion.
Correct.
And Warrior's belt was actually one of the first that they all changed their colors now, but Warriors was like a yellow leather strap with the gold plates on it back then. So things like that. That's a great moment. But still, I mean, Hogan slamming Andre the Giant when nobody thought anybody could pick him up. That's still I don't even know how old I was, but Hulk Hogan was was realer than life for me. So.
Oh yeah,
that was probably it for me.
I fully agree with you. I mean, Hogan slamming Andre was like a world event. That wasn't even just like a pro wrestling event.
Right, because that's not even they're building Andre to be this guy that just can't be done. No, you just look at the guy and you get just the size and the height of him. You just look at him and go, yeah, there's no way anybody can pick him up just from a reality standpoint.
7'5".
I'm looking forward to the Bill Simmons documentary on him. That's going to be on HBO because he was just so. He almost was as big as WrestleMania himself and never holding a title, really.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget that he was not really a world champion for that long if he had the belt. It was kind of like a forgettable run just because.
Didn't he sell it to the $1 Million Man?
Yes, you are correct. Thank you, Jimmy. It's just.
They would have to redo the belt because it wouldn't have fit around him.
Oh, yeah, you just have to wear it on his shoulder. But he was just such an icon, like that transcended just the sport of pro wrestling into movies like Princess Bride and such. I mean, Andre is just a one of a kind person.
Yes, and and to see him and Bobby Heenan rolling to the back on that cart after that match, you could just tell that was probably going to be one of, if it wasn't the last time you saw Andre in a ring, because you could just tell how bad he was hurting after that match.
Oh, yeah. He looked in pain that entire match at Detroit there. He just, I mean, you could just tell like something was not right, and then you find out later about how hurt he was.
Yeah.
So going into that, what do you think about this year's card? Is there any match that sticks out to you that is going to be the must-watch event of it?
I'm not so much excited about the Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax thing. That doesn't, do anything for me. I am looking forward to Charlotte Flair and Asuka.
I agree with that. I agree.
I am looking forward to Styles and Nakamura. I think that if AJ is 100%, that match could be a match of the year candidate right from the jump. I'm interested to see who Braun Strowman's partner will be. If it is the reincarnated Bray Wyatt character or some form of a new Bray Wyatt. That's the rumor that I'm reading and hearing about online and everything. The Usos and New Day have had some really good tag team matches, and personally, I'm tired. I'm glad they're kind of freshening it up, but exactly how many triple threat matches can we possibly have this year? It might be a record for a WrestleMania for triple threat matches.
I'll agree with you on that point. There has been, I think, 4 at least.
At least, yeah.
The triple threat is getting kind of played out for this. I understand, though, they want to try giving wrestlers their moment, though, to have an individual match, because you look at now they have 2 battle royals, the Andre Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal, to get everybody a spot on the card. But I do agree with you about the triple threats. I think it's a little much. I mean, the one that I'm actually really excited about, I think would be a sleeper of the show, is the Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Miz match.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think that's going to be...
But without question, the Raw match Monday night between Balor and Rollins. Those two are top performers week in, week out, night in, night out. And to have neither of them with the strap right now, the quality of matches that they're putting on, to have them involved in a match is just simply incredible. And you know what? The Miz is no slouch either. He's a very good ring performer, very good character. So that is definitely going to be a good match as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really, for me, it's a sleeper of the card. Yeah, you got your dream match with Shinsuke and AJ, and you've got the Charlotte and Asuka match, but this Intercontinental title match for me is a heavy sleeper because you go back and you watch the matches, like you said, between Balor and Rollins. They don't have a bad match together. Okay, yeah, there was the injury at SummerSlam a couple of years ago. Freak injuries happen, but they've never had a bad match together. And you add that to Mania, and then add Miz to it, who is great in and of his own right. It's a potential match of the year candidate.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that. And thoughts from the rest of the panel on that? They're giving a thumbs up?
Yep.
Yeah.
I am.
No, I know. They're definitely like sitting there just reading the card right now. So, but I do agree with you about the triple threats, though. I think that's a little much. But I do understand why they're doing it with the Usos. And I think because they really want to showcase them as I would say the most decorated team currently in WWE, because they have never been on a WrestleMania card,
which is a shame.
Yeah, they've been on the pre-show.
That was a shocker. When I heard that, I didn't even realize it. But when I heard that, I was like, really? All these years, they've never been on a WrestleMania?
Yeah, like that was just mind-blowing to me, because every show that they've been on for the past, I would say, 2 years plus now, they've let off, and that opener has been like the match you talk about after.
Oh, yeah, they're setting the bar real high.
So to put them in there, especially Harper and Rowan are no slouches. I mean, I personally hate the new gimmick.
Yes.
Like, I just wish they go back to being the Wyatt family and have that be something. But all 6 of those guys, I mean, 7 if you want to count all 3 members of the New Day being involved, I mean, they have potential to steal the show as well. And I think for New Day, they're going to come in maybe with a little more chip on their shoulder, because last year being the host, I mean, it's an honor, sure, but I'm sure they'd much rather be in the ring.
Yeah. I the thing that gets me with the Harper and Rowan thing, it's like, you knew they had this ability before. Why did you need to redecorate them or change them up and put sheep skins on them and giant baby rattles for them to be like this dominating duo now? I mean, they had the ability and the look to do it before, and they were just really underused previously.
I guess my only idea I could figure out is they wanted to get as far away from the Wyatt idea as possible, and they figured going as as their current incarnation that would be it. I mean, but I'd like, for me, I just think Harper should be a solo wrestler, because I think he is great on his own, and Rowan's no slouch either, but I think Harper's the standout there. And I mean, this gimmick, I want to see how far it goes. I think, though, with Authors of Pain and NXT possibly coming up after Mania, I know that's one of the rumors I've been hearing, or I know they just signed War Machine to NXT. This might be a feud for them. They're just kind of waiting and seeing who's going to be, the battle of the big teams there.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you know how there's always like these surprise entrants at Royal Rumble? Do you foresee there being any surprise entrants in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal?
Goldberg.
All right, that was Pad.
Yeah.
I heard that too, that Goldberg was going to...
Wait, what's that? I'm sorry, Feth?
That's right. Do you think it's just going to be like a giant NXT, one-off kind of thing for some of these kids to just come up and see what it's like to be on the main roster?
I don't think so, but wait, hold on. Ed wants to jump in with something.
I heard too, Goldberg coming back and winning the thing, but kind of, I mean, he is getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, but to have a match, it's like, I mean, I know it's only on the pre-show, but I mean...
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Ed. I just don't see it. No, and to go back to your point, though, Feth, I don't think they're going to have that many NXT guys. I think you're going to see the guys that have been hurt for the past few months sneak in there, like a Big Cass, who has been cleared.
Yeah.
I could see See, my pick for Braun Strowman's tag team partner, I know you touched upon it a little earlier in the segment, I think it's going to be Samoa Joe. Because nobody is talking about him. He is healthy.
Yeah.
He's cleared.
Yeah, and I think that would make sense. Or I think that Braun is either going to beat Elias senseless, drag him to the ring, throw him in the corner, so he's just there as a partner, and win the belts by himself. But for the Battle Royal, I mean, it could be anybody. I think you're going to see some of the Hall of Famer guys come in. I mean, I wouldn't doubt Jeff Jarrett gets a quick run in.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, but do you think like the Battle Royal? I mean, after you win it, I mean, do you really think that propels you to the next level on the card? Do you think?
If you look at what it did for the Lone Wolf, it didn't really help him or propel him when he won it. 2 years ago?
Yeah, him, Cesaro.
You look at any of the folks who've won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, it's really done nothing for any of them.
No, like I wish what they would do is like if you win that, you get a title shot at SummerSlam.
That would be cool.
Yeah, if you did that, or even at Money at the Bank, like do something like that. Give it like a little incentive. I mean, for both of them too.
Well, yeah, because you look at it right now. They won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and for like a month or so, whenever they get introduced on TV, they stand next to the. Usually the first week they'll stand next to the trophy, and then they'll get introduced as they won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at SummerSlam at WrestleMania, and then it kind of just we're moving on past that.
Yes,
it's almost as if it's an afterthought too. It's like, hey, you won that big giant gold trophy, but it really didn't do anything for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways they should go with it. I don't know exactly what they're going to wind up doing. Jimmy, you got any thoughts on that?
Do you think the Big Show will be in it?
I think the Big Show. Well, by the way, the Big Show re-signed.
Yeah.
That was kind of surprising to me. I would not doubt him winning if he does get involved in this one.
Well, the cool thing, and I just thought of this. The cool thing for the Battle Royal would be they've got the WWE has this working relationship with some of the indie promotion, Progress, Evolve, and stuff like they're having shows at Access. I think it'd be kind of cool if they maybe brought in some of their top talent as entrants in the Battle Royal just to kind of feature them off.
That'd be something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I definitely want to see them do something kind of special with the Andre Battle Royal, and especially like you were saying with the Bill Simmons special coming out. Is it this weekend it's coming or this month?
This month, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this month because this weekend is the Paterno thing that comes out on HBO.
Okay.
I think it's the week following WrestleMania that it's the features.
Yeah, because especially if that's coming out, which I've heard nothing but great things about. This is the time to do it and just have it, really kind of elevate winning that Battle Royal. I mean, if you give him a title shot, I mean, I think that's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
Even a title shot like with the Intercontinental belt, that would be cool, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, give them, a little incentive.
Doesn't have to be a world or universal.
Let it be their choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, what does everybody remember from last year's WrestleMania? Rob Gronkowski.
Well, yeah, and then, what was it, 2 years ago, Shaq showed up.
Yeah, I mean, it has some nice elements, but overall, we'll wait and see. I mean, hopefully this year they surprise us.
Yep.
You think we'll see the Road Dogg or Billy Gunn this year?
Possibly.
It could be. It's Mania. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about Mania. Mania is almost like another Royal Rumble in the sense that you just don't know who you're going to see.
Well, yeah, you look back at, what was it, WrestleMania 31 when it was in California and you had Triple H versus Sting. Did any of us really expect to see NWO and DX come out in the middle of the match and start fighting each other?
I loved it.
Yeah, everyone was freaking out about it, but I don't think any of us expected that.
Yeah, it was great for nostalgia, but I wasn't expecting it. I was just kind of like, okay.
We got to see Hollywood Hogan again.
Yeah, that is very true. All right, Fez, so before we let you go, any final thoughts?
Just enjoy the show, my friends, and I enjoy going back and forth on Facebook and Twitter with you, and I'll be following along on the Facebook page for the Ocho Doro. And keep up the great work, fellas. You're doing a great job. I enjoy listening.
Appreciate it, Feather. We'll have you back on soon because we got to talk some Yankees on the sports show very, very, very soon.
Well, that's my forte, so that would be lovely if you would invite me for that.
Absolutely. We're going to have that in the works. Don't you worry.
All right, dude.
All right, thank you. Big Fed, everybody.
Nice to meet you, man.
Got it. Take care, guys. See ya.
Take care.
So that was Big Fed chiming in from the beach in Delaware. Definitely appreciate having him on the show. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Coming back on this week's ODPH Entertainment WrestleMania edition. And folks, if we were talking wrestling and we are from the 607, there is one man that we need to include on the show from Excite Wrestling offices in Binghamton, New York. Give it up for Johnny Moose.
Woo!
Hi. I thought you were going to say Josh from 2CW.
No. Who are they?
No.
Okay, he said that. I just want for record. Moose, what's going on?
When I say that, I get yelled at, so I can't say those things.
No, yeah, Pat has no fear of that. He's been yelling that for a few shows now, so.
Good. Perfect.
Absolutely.
607. Strong Academy. You know, we run a school. We got the 607 locked down, I think, at this point. I think it's Excite Mania. It's not WrestleMania, it's Excite Mania, running wild throughout the 607 for 6 years now.
Absolutely.
Strong years.
And only getting bigger and better, too.
A lot of not so strong years. But last year was strong. This one's even stronger. So we're going with the here and now. We'll do that.
Fair enough. And especially you got two big shows coming up. We'll talk a little bit later on in the show. But we got to talk a little WrestleMania. So, Moose, what does WrestleMania mean to you?
WrestleMania is cool. I mean, when you're especially people in wrestling get real bitter about wrestling, and WrestleMania is a special time. I don't care if you're a promoter or a wrestler or just a fan. If you can't get excited, this stupid wrestling company name, let me tell you, because now I can't use that word ever without sounding dumb. But if you don't get excited and jazzed about WrestleMania weekend, now it's just a whole big thing. But then I don't know. I mean, even bad cards, you still can get some enjoyment out of WrestleMania. So I love it every year. It's been a while since I went to one. I keep saying, oh, this year I'm going to go, and then, life gets in the way of going. Next year will probably be more certainty.
As it returns to New York.
If I have my way, we'll have a show somewhere down in the general area of WrestleMania next year. And I'm already trying to lay the groundworks for that now.
That would be incredible.
We have to. I'm working on trying to do a joint show with a couple companies down there. If it comes together, great. I think it would be a wonderful thing to do, just to say that we did it. And I think that we have a unique product that, we have connections to everybody at this point. We can put on a pretty good show.
Oh, without question. You guys have...
It's a special time of year if you're a pro wrestling fan. So, I've been talking to people on their way. I got into a long conversation with DJ Hyde today about it and what he's doing down in Louisiana. He is not looking forward to going down, but he's in the middle of it. He's in the middle of trying to do shows and conventions and all that stuff. I can't even imagine what he's going through. It's an awesome time, and WrestleMania it's 7 hours now. People are complaining about how long it is. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's pro wrestling. It's the one night you can be like, yeah, this is cool, and you're watching something with a million other people. It's just a cool time.
Very good point. So what's your favorite Mania moment, Moose?
I have a few. I'll give you the when I was a little kid moment. I'm sure people have said, Hogan, Warrior, Savage, and Steamboat, which are great. No, I'm going to give you the moment that traumatized me when the Ultimate Warrior lost to Ravishing Rick Rude when I was 9 years old, and I was crying because Bobby Heenan tripped his leg. He was holding his leg. Where was the referee?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
In my brain forever, because the Ultimate Warrior was the best, and he lost, and I hated it, and it made me sad, and that memory will stay with me forever. So I bet nobody else will bring that one up on the show.
No, it hasn't came up thus far yet.
Yeah, that one sticks with me. I mean, I've gone to a few WrestleManias. I think it was I'm not good with numbers. So 18, 19, 20, I believe.
Okay.
24 maybe, 29. Whatever one was in Chicago. I think that might have been 24, 23, 25, somewhere in there. I don't think it was 25. I think 25 was down in Texas, wasn't it?
I think so.
But I mean, WrestleMania 17 or 18 was in Toronto. That was my first WrestleMania. Me and Tim Skinner went together. It was a ball. We had a great time. WrestleMania 19, that was in Seattle. I watched Steve Austin's last match. We didn't know at the time that's what that was going to be. I watched Brock Lesnar. From my angle, I was on the floor. He jumped from the corner that I was in. We were in like the 10th row or 12th row or whatever we were.
Oh, the shooting star press.
Everybody was standing, and I'm short. So all I saw was him come down on his head. I didn't see how he landed. I thought I watched Brock Lesnar kill himself in a match. From my vantage point, that's what it looked like.
That had to be one of the most horrific injuries. Like, just the angle watching at home, too, just how he did not clear that shooting star press. It was just like a straight nosedive.
And the thing that people don't realize, they thought he just pulled that off. He was doing it for years. 3/4 of the way across the ring on dark matches, they just saved it. They wanted to make it special, so he'd have that special moment. And it just blew it, and then he never tried it again, luckily. So, we did the accesses things, and me and Tim Skinner meeting Shawn Michaels, and anybody knows anything about wrestling, Shawn Michaels was the best. This was before he came back. Me and Tim take credit for him coming out of retirement because when we met him, they have a little replica belt that you hold, and we told him to hold the belt because he deserved it, not us. And he's like, really? Yeah, no, you should be wearing this belt. And then, I was there for when he came back, and I'm like, this is because of us. So I take credit for it. You guys are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Moose.
The Chicago show, I mean, Michaels wrestled Vince, was cool. The Foley wrestled Edge, where he went through the table, the flaming table. That was just a long trip. The match of the weekend, I saw Bryan Danielson wrestle Roderick Strong for 55 minutes at Ring of Honor the night before.
Ooh.
That was the match of the night for me.
What's your thoughts on what's your thoughts on Daniel Bryan coming back to this Mania?
I hate it. Everybody's so excited about it, but I hate it because I was going to run the arena with Daniel Bryan on top. That was my plan next year, to run the arena with Daniel Bryan versus take your pick, but it was probably going to be somebody like now I just blanked out on who it was going to be. I think Sean Carr probably would have been in there just for the local thing, but I'm just like, man, WWE must have found out.
It's got to be. I bet you they're following on the Twitch stream every time you guys are doing the shows now. I mean, I think they're watching.
I think it's great. I think it's long overdue. I would be shocked to hear that the WWE didn't go to him and say, hey, if we reinstate you, we want to renew your contract beyond the September date that he was going to be done, just because they want to make sure companies like me don't try to kill him. I can totally see that happening. I mean, all the doctors, except for one at the WWE, were saying, you're good to go. So it was going to if it wasn't going to happen at WWE, it was going to happen as soon as his contract ran out. And I think they knew that, and they either, were finally convinced it's a good idea, or they looked at it like, everybody's saying it's a good idea. The doctors are saying we really don't have a case to keep him out of the ring. Let's try to keep him in the WWE family where they can protect him. They're looking out for him. That's what it comes down to. It's just a matter of what happens beyond September. I guess we'll find out. but I'm hesitant to believe that if he's still wrestling, why would he leave WWE at that point?
That's a good
Because I know
point.
he wants to wrestle. That was the whole point. And if they're allowing him to wrestle, why wouldn't he resign anyways? Even if it wasn't part of a contingency to him, coming back. Why? I mean, obviously, Cody Rhodes has done really well leaving the WWE to go other places and has made a huge success out of himself.
I think he's setting a blueprint for hitting the indie scene. So it's showing that there is life outside the WWE.
He is, but you know what? He did things a little bit different than you would expect from somebody who was wrestling on WWE TV and then started doing indie shows. His price, some guys price themselves up because they're like, I'm a WWE guy. I should be at this price. He didn't do that. He went at a much lower price, and it went up over time as he, won the Ring of Honor title, things like that. But he priced himself to wrestle and to wrestle everywhere. And then he is the easiest guy to work with. His agent is more difficult, where you have to convince him on what matches you were going to put Cody in, because they knew, he made a list, but beyond that list, they knew what they wanted to accomplish with him, and they did it to a T. It was amazing what they were able to accomplish. And now, he's one of the hottest guys in wrestling because of what they did over the last 2 years or a year and a half or whatever it's been.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's a smart blueprint. I mean, especially this weekend, one of the biggest indie shows going is going to be him versus Kenny Omega down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great. Although I saw that nasty gash that Cody had over his eye. So,
yeah.
These things happen.
No, I know. It looks awful.
What happened to Cody?
He has a very nasty cut.
Oh,
if
man.
you have to see it.
Yeah,
I don't think I can even go into it.
It was. I didn't see the kick. I still haven't seen the kick, but I saw the aftermath of the kick, and it was just a big gaping hole right over his eye. So, yeah, I mean, he kind of set the path for, if you want to leave WWE and you want to become much bigger than what you were. But someone like Daniel Bryan, it's weird because I could see him wanting to wrestle, but I could see him being very picky and pricing himself much higher because he doesn't want just to wrestle for any, mom and pop indie company, because he doesn't want to get hurt. So I could see him charging a lot more, but giving you the full Daniel Bryan show if you're willing to pay it. I mean, guys like Rob Van Dam, guys like John Morrison do the same thing. If you want to have them on your show and you want to spend that money, they'll give you the full show, but they don't necessarily want to do every show. So I don't know what would have happened, but I had my plan, and now my plan's probably ruined because he, is now going to wrestle at WrestleMania, I guess.
Yeah, but you know what, though? You'll come up with something just equally as big. Because I know the show that's coming to NYSEG, I know we're talking 2 shows ahead, but the show at NYSEG Stadium on June 2nd is looking pretty stacked as is, though.
Yeah, I mean, the next 2 shows are really they're risky for me because they're more expensive, but the buzz that we've gotten for these shows have been tremendous. And I know, Ken, you and I had talked about, going into the 6th anniversary show and how I was kind of bummed about it, and the date changed and we lost our main event, and it's been a bad few shows on different weird things happening, and I was kind of down on the anniversary show, and it turned out much better than I think anybody expected.
Yeah,
we had a bigger.
Oh, go. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, for all the challenges you had, and like I said, you had to change the main event and just the weather and all that, it was one of the best shows you've done.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, without question.
It was a weird show, and it was a weird aftermath because I was actually kind of happy after the show, which is rare. People were happy, you know what I mean? And we didn't have like that name guy. We didn't have the attraction. But we still drew a crowd. We still had a nice walk-up. We the guys, they could have half-assed it, let's be honest, but they didn't. They all went out there, tried to kill it. So I couldn't have been happier by the end of the night. And, going in with that into, April, which was supposed to be in Oneida, and then it had to get moved to Binghamton, and not knowing how it would go over, the idea that Scott Steiner's coming in, it's gotten us huge buzz.
Oh, absolutely.
Much bigger than I expected it to be honest with you. And I think, like ticket sales, I was like pulling teeth trying to get people to buy tickets online for the 6th anniversary show. And, we just sold out the tickets elsewhere, and that's where we made, all the people in. This one is already selling really well. I think we only got like 8 front rows left of the VIP package, which that's the only front rows we sold was the more expensive, you get to meet Steiner, you get to come in, food, drinks, all that stuff. But we're still only 8 seats away from having it be sold out.
That's incredible.
Which usually GA picks up, a week, maybe 2 weeks out. We're already starting to, pick up GA sales. I think April is going to be really big, which then, just keeps us going right to the stadium show where, I don't know what the ticket sales are. I know we're selling some tickets already, which any ticket sales, considering how we have an event now, because the way I had it laid out, we weren't going to have another show in the Binghamton area from the anniversary show for 3 months until Nice Lake Stadium. That was the plan, but then it kind of changed. So we have the show in the middle where people were buying tickets, so it's going to delay ticket sales for the stadium, but people are still buying stadium stuff. They want to buy stadium tickets before they buy the April show because they think that they're going to sell out quicker. And I'm like, no, listen. Get your April tickets because it's not like we think it's going to be.
No, I think just talking with people in town, though. I just know talking with people in town, there's more of a buzz for the April show right now than the June show, which is kind of crazy. But a lot more casual fans, I guess they're saying, are getting really excited for the Excite show on the 29th. No pun intended.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, last night they had the Meet the Rumble Ponies event, right? Mm-hmm. 450 plus paid attendance, which is the highest they've ever had. Plus, probably the comps that they every event does. So there's probably like 500 people there. And mostly, I mean, why are they there? They want to see Tim Tebow, Heisman Trophy winner, all that good stuff. Apparently, from what I understand, a really nice dude from everybody that's, talked to him and dealt with him and been with him. Apparently, he's aced so far.
That's cool to hear.
Is great. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, well, if Tim Tebow's going to be here, what are we going to do with Tim Tebow? And
I need to see this, Moose.
That's what I think. I don't know what the Mets think. That's a whole nother story. I could have my plans. That doesn't mean anything's going to come out of that. But there was already people saying, that they weren't going to come to the event. They don't come to every event. They told me they weren't coming to the event, and they're already trying to tag people because they're like, Tim Tebow, you get to see a Tim Tebow game and wrestling. We got to go. It's a weird dynamic to have added to the show with a guy that may not have anything to do with the wrestling, and yet people are excited about that part. And, they did this Meet the Mets thing. They started talking about Excite at it. The owner, John, was doing like a little presentation of what's coming up. Apparently, we did not get as good of a reaction as the Human Cannonball, which I can understand that because how sweet is that?
That's tough competition.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for a guy flying through the air, maybe missing a net, and, that's awesome. But apparently it got a very well-received thing for 500 people that now know that maybe didn't know that Excite Wrestling was coming back. The owner doesn't know anything about wrestling. Excite Wrestling showed up, and he's like, so what's going on? like we're doing a wrestling show. And he obviously knew that we were doing, but he didn't really understand it. And then, I see him taking pictures in the ring. And from what I understood, he watched almost the whole show from their party deck. I guess he loved it. He thought it was great. The Rumble Ponies loved it across the board because, one, the show is great. They make money on ticket sales. And they said that they made more money on the food and drinks from that 3-hour period of wrestling than they would in most weekday games. So that's why they were ready to book me for the next show like that day. They're like, okay, what are we doing next year?
And I will say this too, because if it wasn't for that, I actually did not go to. That was my first Rumble Ponies game, and that's the first time I've seen the stadium switched over. I think for the group that I go with, and because of that, and going and actually seeing the games, I've actually started going to more games because of Excite Wrestling being there.
You know what? They are like the best partner in the world. It's so easy. The way they got a hold of me, I didn't get a hold of them. And I've told this story before, but literally I was supposed to call them. I got a phone number for somebody at the Ponies, and I was supposed to call them on a Monday. And it was right around Christmas time, and I had to, on my lunch break, go do Christmas party stuff. I couldn't do what I wanted, so I didn't call them. That Tuesday, they had emailed me saying, hey, can we meet and talk, and let's put something together. It was like meant to be. And the guy I deal with, Steve, he, unbeknownst to me, was going to shows for a year.
Oh, wow.
Watching the shows. I had no idea that he was from the Rumble Ponies. He would just come to the shows. And he loved it. That's why they got a hold of us. And he's like, what can we do to make this happen? They've been the best partner ever for trying to make a local business be better. And that's how they put it. They want to be part of the community and ingrain themselves as part of the community, and they think Excite is part of the community. I mean, it's the best thing ever. I mean, even if it doesn't do great, just the connection and the level of respect and professionalism that they treat us with, it's amazing, and I love it. I'm really excited. That's why, I put the show together that we're going to have with Jack Swagger and Tessa Blanchard and Mikey Whipwreck, who's retired, coming out of retirement to do whatever he's going to do. I don't think he's going to have a match, but he's going to be doing something. Joey Ryan coming in, Ethan Page. We lost Braxton Sutter. TNA's running something or another, but I wanted to put together like the ultimate Excite show for everybody and try to give it the best show that we can because I want the Rumble Ponies to be successful, and if we can help a little bit with that, I'm all for it. So that's I think if this continues beyond this, I think it's just going to morph into just our biggest show of the year with the best talent we can get until we run the arena, and then I quit.
Well, you're stepping in the right direction, though, Moose. I mean, definitely, because I have to say, the NYSEG Stadium show has now turned into your Wrestlemania for Excite, I think.
It has, and you're not the first person to say that, to the point where I'm thinking we might have to change the name. I don't know. But it really is going to be the big show of the year. And now that, the other thing is our wrestling school we got, right? It
Yep.
was in a 20 by 20 room at the Naipen Trade Center, and I worked out a deal with the Legion post 80 to be there permanently, have our ring there permanently, have our stuff there. And since we did that, our school, I mean, we have like 15 to 20 kids at the school now.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I can go to them and say, hey, I have a show on June 2nd. If there's rain, I need to bring the show here. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, good. Let's do that. Yeah, that's great. But that, is a testament to 6 years of trying to just treat people well and treat people right. And making connections like Skate Estate. I got canned from Skate Estate. They're sponsoring the next 2 shows.
Interesting how it works in full circle there.
It's an amazing thing. You got Soundground. They're sponsoring the next couple of shows. There's a couple more businesses that we're talking to sponsor shows, and they don't get much out of a sponsorship, but they're getting the association, and it's the relationships that we've built up in the community. And it was one of the things I was talking to DJ Hyde about today, about how we're the only company in the market within at least an hour and a half range. And what I want us to be is ingrained in the community here as something that people just know, like, oh, Excite Wrestling. Yeah, you go there, you're going to see a great show. They're going to treat you well. You can buy a GA ticket for $15, which has been our price for years. Or you can buy front rows for $30 on some shows, or they have a special VIP package where, unlike other shows where you might pay $75 for front row and you get a front row ticket, if you buy a $75 front row at NYSEG Stadium, that's a lot of money. That makes me nervous. But then again, you get the front row seat, you get a meet and greet where you get pictures and autographs with Jack Swagger and Tessa Blanchard and Mikey Whipwreck and Joey Ryan. You get a poster, you get a T-shirt, you get all you can eat food and drinks for an hour and a half party after the show, which that is worth the price.
That's price alone right there. Yeah.
I try to, when I come up with these packages, it's not just like, well, what's the highest price I can charge, to gouge people. It's, if we charge this price, what's the most that we can give them that makes sense, and they'll feel like they got much more than what they paid for. And that's how I approach every show. I mean, the June 29th, which we haven't really talked much about, which we'll be talking more once we get past April for sure. I'm not doing a VIP. It's going to be $30 front row across the board.
Wait, Moose, just to clarify, you said June 29th. You mean June 2nd, correct?
No. We got April 29th.
Right.
June 2nd.
Yep.
And then June 29th.
Oh, okay, June 29th.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 weeks later, we'll be back at the Legion running a show. I mean, well, if anywhere I should talk about it, I'll talk about it here. There's a couple of students that are very much into the LGBTQ community, and they came to me and said, hey, would you be willing to do a show where we can somehow support some groups or charities in that community?
That's awesome.
And have it, pretty much embrace that community here in the 607. And I said, absolutely. So that's what the June 29th show is going to be all about.
That's awesome, Moose.
Embracing everything.
Great.
Really cool.
I told them we're going to make a commercial, and I'm like, I'm not the guy to handle it because I don't have the proper voice for these things, being a evil Republican and everything. But at our school we have a Native American, we have 2 African American kids, we got a couple LGBTQ type kids, we have 2 Puerto Ricans, we have a bunch of white privileged kids. We are a melting pot at this point, just in the school alone, let alone the company. And I'm like, if we can't embrace that and do something with that, we're doing things wrong. And I just want this community to come together because, my email's teambinghamton@yahoo. You got the Team Binghamton Facebook that I never do anything with, along with the Twitter. I believe in this community, good and bad for what it is. And The Legion that we run post 80 was the Legion that my grandfather went to, and even when he started getting older and he started having dementia, I would take him to the Legion, and he would remember fondly different things from his time in the military, and that Legion will always be my Legion because of that. And whatever I can do to bring this community together, this is very anti-normal Moose, who's the evil promoter, who's very greedy. You're seeing it might be painkillers.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a new side. This is a new side to you, Moose.
This could be the painkillers coming out. That's what I want. And, I don't care about having the biggest crowds. I don't care about making the most money, although I'd love to. If I can entertain people for a couple hours in a world that isn't always happy, shiny, go, lucky, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And the June 29th is all about bringing that whole community and everyone together for just a nice little celebration of being here. And I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't even know. If it wasn't for Jersey Boys, I went to my first gay pride meeting that we were going to go to talk to the gay community to see what we could do to make them happy and bring awareness to what we were doing. So April will be my first one, and it's gonna be cool. These 3 shows, and I've been saying it for a while. I don't think people really get it. The next few months are going to be totally different and just a really fun time to be doing what we're doing. And I'm shilling it right now when we should be talking about Wrestlemania. And
no, it's all right, because you know what, Moose? You know you're welcome to come on here anytime and talk Excite. You know I will never cut you off from doing that. In fact, when we get a little closer to some of the other shows, please come back on. We're going to do a whole solo show with you.
I'd love to. I love, as bitter and as much as I say I dislike wrestling sometimes, and I do, I really do, but I think that's just because of the nature of what I have to do to put on shows. I love pro wrestling, and if you're in pro wrestling and you don't love it, you shouldn't do it. And again, the painkillers are probably really kicking in that I would never admit this ever, so I'm doing it for you guys.
Well, we appreciate it, Moose.
I'm looking forward to this weekend, and it just so happens my kid and my wife are going out of town. I have the house to myself for most of the time. They're going to come back on Sunday, and I know they're going to ruin WrestleMania. It's just the way it's going to happen. But whatever. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I had like a minor surgical procedure on last Monday. I've been holed up in my house, and grumpy and in pain, and I'm actually finally looking forward to something in this. I've been taking baths. It's helped with this surgery. I don't take baths. I've been living in my house for 8 years. I took more baths in this last week and a half than I have in 8 years. And let me tell you, I watched all 30 minutes of Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was an awesome match.
Phenomenal match. I loved it. Loved it. When he started stomping on his head, I'm like, this is just the way it's supposed to be. This is what wrestling's supposed to be. And, of course, he really almost killed himself when he did the Spanish Fly. But
he is cleared for this weekend. He is cleared for this weekend's indie shows.
I thought one of the worst things he did to his neck was the thing he did to himself. It was brutal. I watched that, and then no less than 2 minutes later, I watched all of Ultimate Deletion. I've never seen it. I didn't watch it on Raw. I didn't see it. I'm like, I want to see what this is like. And you know what? I really liked it. I really did. And I'm like, I watched something that was wrestling perfection, or close to it, and then I watched something very corny and off the wall, and I was able to enjoy both. And I think that's what you should be able to do. That's what I try to make an Excite show. Believe me, there's this one critic who rates matches, and I hate people that rate matches. Your star ratings are dumb. If you do star ratings, stop doing them. You don't have to like every match, but when you're saying this match was only a half a star, stop.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
stop. And he hates comedy wrestling. Hates it. So Joey Ryan wrestles Dick Justice. I have almost like 300 people there who loved it. Threw 200 lollipops at him, and then Joey Ryan tells the kid that I sent down there to sweep out the ring, get out of the ring because we're going to wrestle on lollipops, like they're thumbtacks, because he wanted to do it, because he's never done it. He's like, we're doing it. That, to me, is incredible. And, of course, he crapped on it. But to the majority of the people that were in that building, they loved it.
Oh, it was great.
I left with a headache. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, wrestling is very subjective. And I try to give a little bit of something to everybody. I don't know how we're going to do. Do you want to know a match for the stadium?
If you want to,
Sure.
I haven't told anybody the matches.
Hey, we're down for exclusives.
I don't know how we're going to pull this off, but we have to stay within a certain confine of goodness. We can't go too over the top because we're still at the stadium. There's still kids there. At the Legion, we can do whatever we want. We're going to let Scott Steiner be Scott Steiner, and we're going to let him do the full show. At the stadium, we have to pull back a little bit. But I still have Joey Ryan taking on Greg Excellent.
Ooh.
So how are we going to do that match in a way that's going to entertain the poop out of everybody, but not let Joey Ryan go too far? I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't know. But we're going to try. We're going to figure it out.
That's a great match on paper, man. I can't wait to see that.
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great. I could just give you the whole card. No, I'm not giving you the whole card.
No, I was going to say, unfortunately, we're not going to have enough time for the whole card.
Good. Because I shouldn't tell anybody anything. I'm going to spoil stuff. I don't want to do that.
No, we'll just. No, but I'm just keeping track of the time, though, Moose. We're going to have to hurry up with the segment.
I'm sorry. I've run probably way long, so I apologize.
I don't mind. Just we're going to have other people calling in for. I just got to make sure we got enough time for them. So just Moose, in short, though, thoughts on this WrestleMania and this card? Or is there any match that's sticking out in this card?
All right. Before we do that, I didn't actually give you my favorite WrestleMania moment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I gave you my favorite moments. Last one. And this is sentimental, and I know you'll appreciate it. WrestleMania 29. It was a few of us went down to the show, which included Tim Skinner, who is near and dear to my heart. I don't know if he's ever been on the show. You should have him on the show.
Tim is welcome anytime he wants to come on.
But I was also with his brother Jim, who passed away suddenly and tragically in September, and he was down there with us, and we all had a really good time, and for that period of time, it was great. And I'll always have that day as cold and rainy, and plus there was a Dunkin' Donuts literally in our section, which was great. That probably will remain my favorite moment because we were all there and we were all happy and we were all together. That's what WrestleMania I'm gonna bring it all back. That's what it's all about: being all together, be happy, be one. And that was my favorite moment. Okay, this year's WrestleMania. I don't know that I have a favorite thing going into it. John Cena and The Undertaker could have been really cool. I don't know if there might be just setting up next year's WrestleMania, and that's why it's not anything. I definitely think John Cena is going to face The Undertaker in some fashion at WrestleMania. What they're going to do, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a match. Or if it is a match, it's going to be very weird for a setup to a match. So this might be like the Rock Cena, we're going to give it a year build to make it one really, really last hurrah. Because here's the other thing. They built John Cena on a losing streak to WrestleMania, which that's not exactly a John Cena thing to do. And then what is he going to do? Wrestle The Undertaker? He doesn't need to beat The Undertaker, so he probably really should lose. But then he'd been lost for like 6 months. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Daniel Bryan coming back is going to be really cool. Ronda Rousey, it could either be really awesome or it could be really awesome because it's really bad. So I don't know how that's going to go. Brock and Roman, I think this is the coordination of Roman Reigns. You know, it's funny, he's billing it as Brock is Vince's boy, when in reality, Roman's always been Vince's guy. I think it would be awesome swerve to see Brock win, but I don't know, and I doubt that that's the way they'll go, but I could be 100% wrong. You know, they have told some really good stories. Like, Asuka, is she going to – I think she's going to lose. I think she's going to lose the streak.
Really? Okay.
I could be wrong, but who else could beat her and have it mean something? I think the person they pretty much, up until she came on the main roster, built the whole women's division around. If she was in the Rumble, I would have said Flair would have won, just because of how they built the roster around her. And honestly, if she doesn't win, then they should have her and Ronda Rousey build for one straight year to Asuka and Ronda Rousey wrestling at WrestleMania. They should never touch. They should never be in a match, but they should be building that whole time to that moment. If it was me,
I agree with you on that.
What else cool things am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing something.
No, I think the triple threat is the one I think is going to steal the show.
Yeah,
I mean.
Oh wait, you know, AJ Styles and Shinsuke. You know, if they give them 35 minutes to just do what they do, that could be one of the best WrestleMania matches they've ever put on. If they part of me wants them to do the Daniel Bryan finish, where he got kicked and beat in 30 seconds in the opening match. I don't know why, but I would laugh hysterically and think it was the greatest thing ever if Shinsuke gives him the knee in the first minute and pins him. I would think it would be great. I don't think anybody else would, but I would think it would be the best thing they ever did.
Yeah, they might have a riot down there if that happens.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that for that reason. I think people would freak out, but my own personal taste, would have thought it was the funniest thing ever. Yeah, I don't think they'll do that. So if they let them really go and let them do what they can really do, it could be one of the best matches they've ever done, bar none. I think that's it. That's all I got. NXT will be cool. If you're down there, go to indie shows. There's going to be a bunch of them. And if nothing else, you might get to see one of them shut down by the commission being nuts. So go support indie wrestling while you're down there, if you're down there, because those are the stars of tomorrow, today, or something lame like that.
No, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it's the great thing about WrestleMania is that not only do you have the WWE going on, but you have the indie scene going on as well, and you should always support your indie wrestling shows. Moose, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show, and we definitely plan on having you back soon.
Excite time. You got to always plan on Excite time. I'm sorry.
No apologies needed, my friend. Definitely we'll be having you on soon. Johnny Moose, everybody. We're going to take a quick break, come back and wrap up the show. You're listening to the ODPH Entertainment Edition.
Fairy tale
Coming back to close out this extra-sized edition of the ODPH Entertainment Edition, WrestleMania Edition. I am your host, Ken M. I just want to say thank you to all our callers today. George Gatton, Vinny, Big Feth, and, of course, Johnny Moose from Excite Wrestling, who gave you so many exclusives.
Yeah.
I lost track. Great interviews. But we also have a great panel along with us. Jimmy Gazdick from Floodlands, the one and only Nostradamus, Edwin Fortunato, and Padawan J is here as well. So, guys, to close out the show, what is your favorite WrestleMania moment, starting with Jimmy?
Hogan and Andre is definitely my favorite. Just the nostalgia of it. But the Macho Man Randy Savage, his matches in WrestleMania, especially with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, probably one of the most underrated matches for years, I think. But it's I don't know, recently, just talking to a wrestling fan, that's a match that comes up fairly often now.
I think it was kind of like a blueprint. Like, for you don't realize it at the time. Like, we're all pretty young when that match happened.
That's probably what it is.
But now, with looking back at it and the storytelling and the action and the drama involved with it, it is just near perfect. I mean,
amazing.
I know George mentioned in his segment about The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, #1 was probably the greatest match of all time. Savage Steamboat is up there.
Oh, I agree.
You can definitely argue that point.
I think Hogan Rock's up there, too.
Hogan Rock is definitely up there. Ed was actually at that show.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, yes. Rock Hogan was just historic. And
to be in front of that crowd, though, you must have...
Yeah, like, describe that crowd.
What was that like?
It was just... Nobody, like, sat down that whole match. It was just it was electric. It was just...
That's a good word for it.
just to say, you're seeing history and just how just epic that is
like
at that time.
Lightning in a jar.
Yeah, just like you're at that one of those moments that you're just looking around and going like, oh my gosh, I'm here, and like this is going to stand the test of time. It's just got to be truly incredible.
I'm jealous of it, by the way.
Well, yeah, WrestleMania is coming up back to New York next year, so and if there's an Excite show,
I would be totally into that.
Man, Moose has got me all amped up about this now. All right, Ed, what was your favorite WrestleMania moment?
I only have that same card, Triple H winning the title after coming back after his first quad surgery was pretty amazing too. But I only have another one that tops that, and when Sting and Triple H faced off a few years back, and those were my two guys, so it's just, I never thought I'd see it, and
yeah, you just never thought it would happen because separate companies back in the day, and then you look at it when it happened. Sting, of course, being slightly a little bit older, Triple H getting up there a little bit in age, not really working as much as he used to. Just you look at all the outside factors going into it, you just think, you know what, as good as it'd be cool to see, just not in the cards, but it worked out.
Definitely. Pat, what was yours?
Well, unlike some of the other ones in the panel, I have not been a wrestling fan for as long, so mine is rather recent. But I'd have to say Seth Rollins cashing in, just for the sheer unbelievable. I couldn't believe it was happening at the time.
Oh yeah, against Brock and
Roman, because I remember he won Money in the Bank and that whole build up of time where I remember sitting here watching pay-per-views and Raws thinking, oh, he's going to cash in here. He's going to cash in here. This would be a perfect opportunity to do it. That because we were actually coming up on the 1 year to Money in the Bank, and we're like, when's he going to do it? And of course, the middle of that match, they're both laying in the middle of the ring there, and the music hits, and JBL I think said it best. Nobody believed it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the thing about WrestleMania. There's so many just moments that you have. I mean, for me, and this is going to be kind of, a little left to center one, but for me, because I went to the one in New York, and that was truly just an amazing experience from top to bottom. But CM Punk versus The Undertaker, which in my opinion was CM Punk or The Undertaker's best WrestleMania match, second to Shawn Michaels, because the Michaels one you can't even go near. That's like on a different level. But for me, and just seeing that crowd, and honestly, I felt that was the main event. I actually got up and left after that match because I was like, I've seen it all.
It should have been the main event.
It should have been. I fully agree with you on that. I had really no interest in seeing Rock and Cena because I mean, I've seen it before. I mean, and it just really didn't do anything for me. But that being said, I was so amped up to see CM Punk and Taker that honestly I was like, done after that.
Well, and you go back and you look at the build up to that. You know, you look at the build up with I'd say that was Punk at his absolute best.
When they let him be him. They just let him run. Because the only other time he's ever been like that is when he did the pipe bomb sequence and when he fought Cena at Money in the Bank and the drama there, which that was great storytelling. I mean, this is why we always harp back to like WrestleMania moments, because you have the larger-than-life experience. And for us, we're still talking about matches that happened years ago, just to put it in perspective.
Man, I miss CM Punk, honestly.
I do too. I mean, I wish him well in his MMA career, and I know he's going to be fighting again there soon.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
But yeah, he's got a fight lined up in Chicago for their next card. But I mean, personally, I'd love to see him back in the ring.
Me too.
Just one more time.
That'll be a pop though in Chicago.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I've heard he's gotten a lot better since his last fight, and you know what? He's at a good camp, and I wish him the best. So I can't wait to see it. But to end the show, though, we got to take one look at the WrestleMania card. I'm just going to pass around the panel. What is the match you're most looking forward to? Starting with Pat.
I said it before, Intercontinental belt between Balor, Rollins, and Miz. I like Finn Balor. I'm a huge Balor guy. You look at like I said before, you look at the work and the matches Finn and Seth have had. They never had a bad match. They've got great chemistry together. And then you look at the Miz, who's really improved, one of the best, if not the best, mic workers in WWE today. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be something. You're going to get a moment out of that somehow. Something's going to happen out of that. You're just going to remember it for years.
Absolutely, Dog.
I think I'm most interested to see is the woman, the Ronda Rousey, Angle, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon. How that's going to go down, and I've always been a big fan of Ronda, so just can't wait to see her make her WrestleMania or WWE debut on the grand stage of them all.
Dog is seriously amped for that match.
I think it'll be interesting, man, for sure.
Not many people can say they've made their debut on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, and I think she's gonna surprise some people. I mean, like I said, I think she still looks very new, but given that time and plus she's working with Triple H and stuff, and Kurt Angle as your partner, she's definitely gonna learn some tricks by the time the match happens. And I think that's gonna be a really good one. And I also agree with it. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental belt, I think it's gonna steal the show. Jimmy, you got one?
Honestly, I'm really interested to see if Cena and The Undertaker are going to go at it.
That's $1 million question right now.
Moose brought up an interesting point, though, that I had never considered. What if they are doing the long build for this?
Yeah,
I gotta admit, I never thought of that.
Like Cena Rock.
Well, it makes sense on one point and it doesn't on another. I guess if Cena's doing the long build for where are they going to go with it? I mean, yeah, it's going to be a long build, and is there that many people that really want to see that match at this stage?
Right.
I don't know. Because the thing for me is, when I think Undertaker, I think the dead man. I don't think the American badass. And how he left his gear in the ring after last year's with Roman Reigns, to me, I considered, okay, Taker was done.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so that's what everyone thought.
So thus, if he does come back, are they going to do an angle where he magically, gets his, mojo back, so to speak, or does he come back as the American badass, which I think is going to happen at Mania?
Maybe mean Mark Calloway.
I mean, possibly. I don't know if they do a weird angle where he falls into the Lake of Reincarnation at the Hardy compound. I mean, it could happen. That now has opened the door for many gimmicks to come back. I just want to point that out for record.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I mean, Taker, Cena, if they could definitely go, and they're going to tell a good story. It's going to be a good match no matter what.
Kevin Nash came back as Diesel.
Yeah, in the one. I mean, anything
was that the Rumble?
Oh, yeah. It was a Rumble.
Yeah, so, anything is possible at Mania. That's a great thing about it. I don't know. For me, I'm looking at a couple. And honestly, Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think the four of those guys are going to put on a story.
That's going to be insane because you look at Shane's history with matches. I mean, jumping off of things, jumping across the ring. You look at Daniel Bryan, who, we said it before, it's poetic that his first match back is in the same site where he had arguably the greatest match of his career, where he won the belt. And then you look at Kevin and Sammy, who worked together for years, know each other for years, and none of them are going to put on a bad match. That one is going to be very, very good.
And if you want to talk about guys that work their ways up through the indies and to get here where they are, I mean, just look at that match, with the exception of Shane, obviously.
Right.
I mean,
we met Kevin Owens.
Yeah, we saw Kevin Owens.
Nicest guy, too.
Yeah, nicest guy in the world. And we met him wrestling AJ Styles at 2CW at the American Legion, which is now the 607 Strong Academy.
Now he's on the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy to think about, but when you go to these indie shows and and like Moose was saying, you see the stars of tomorrow today, you don't know who you're going to see.
He's not joking.
Yeah, he's 100% right. Because, I mean, I just think about it. I know we haven't touched upon NXT, and we won't. I can blog about it if everybody asks me to. You're going to see Ricochet. You're going to see Johnny Gargano.
Yep.
They wrestled each other for Excite Wrestling. And Tommaso Ciampa is wrestling that match, and he wrestled Joe Gacy, and I've said this once, and I'll say this again. It was the best main event match in Excite Wrestling history. You're going to see those guys on the network on NXT TakeOver this weekend.
That's incredible.
Just to put it in perspective and tie it all together, WrestleMania means that much to all of us. So we definitely want to know what you guys think. We hope you like the WrestleMania edition of the ODPH. If you guys like it, we're going to do another one down the road. So hit us up on the hashtag ODPHEE. So for Jimmy Gazdick, for Nostradamus, Edwin Fortunato, and Padawan J.
Too sweet.
I'm your host, Ken M. Let's go Usos this weekend too, by the way. Thank you for listening to another edition of the ODPH Entertainment WrestleMania edition. Enjoy the show this weekend, folks. We'll see you next time.